The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Holy crap, Deadites, over 900 subs. That is awesome. Welcome to What If Asta Was a Freelancer. We all know the story of Anthem by now. How the Shapers formed Coda to their image and left it incomplete. How the anthem of creation still rings to this day, singing its song of creation and destruction for all ciphers to hear. Due to the Shapers' negligence, the world is filled with endless wonders and dangers alike. This is a tale of one such danger. So I'll be frank. Asta is female for this, but she's not going to be super girly or anything like that. She's still the knucklehead you know and love, and she's fairly well built because she still does the trading, just for a different reason. But since Asta is a she won't be head over heels for Sister Lily in this case. And no, I am not making her gaga for the fucking father either. Now, since this is a fusion of Black Clover and Anthem, there is another very important change I have to make. Magic. There is none in this world. So to give nobles something else to lord over commoners with, how about saying they have access to better gear and in some cases possess a Shaper relic? So for a Freelancer, they'd have ridiculous levels of gear. I'd say that their Javelin would be built around said relic, or what it allowed them to do, to be more specific. So let's get this rolling, shall we? One night, 2 babies were left at an orphanage. 1 male and 1 female. For all Black Clover fans, yes, it's Yuno and Asta. There was something odd about these babies though. One look at them made it clear they weren't related, and this was merely coincidence. Yet an even bigger coincidence was that both babies had relics on them. In Yuno's case, his was a rather odd-looking opalish necklace that was at the base of his feet, while Asta's appeared to be some strange knife with an odd black orb that had some red in it. At first, the thought of selling the relics for the church came to mind, but on the baskets were warnings of why not to do it in both cases, especially with Asta's. When the father took the relics away from Asta, her eyes started to glow red, and energy started being drained indiscriminately. This happened every time the relics got too far away from Asta, so they would merely let her keep the knife and orb. I'd say energy drain is a good replacement for anti-magic in this case, don't you? As far as Yuno goes, it was clear by far what his artifact did. A powerful gust of wind struck the father when Asta began to cry, almost as if to say, "Don't be a jerk." Over the years, a few people have tried to take Yuno's artifact while contenting themselves to merely study Asta's from afar. She wasn't quite necessarily aware of the energy drain until she was a little older, but everyone around her was well aware of it, and they didn't want to risk the fort being drained of energy. That would be very, very, very bad, because you've seen all the things Fort Tarsus is in. Oh yeah, by the way, they're in Fort Tarsus, which is one thing I forgot to write there. My bad. One would think that because Asta is female, her obsession with Sister Lily wouldn't exist. Well, one would be wrong. Asta's attraction to Sister Lily might not be sexual, but she is still rather fond of the sister, but for a different reason. Asta sees Lily, or rather aspects of Lily, and wants to be like her to a point when she gets older. In that manner, Lily is her ideal woman to become. Now, due to this, Asta's going to be a little smarter in a few things. As Asta got older and grew larger for some reason, so did her knife to a point. It's like somewhere between a dagger and a... well, not even a dagger. This knife is basically a dirk. For those of you who don't know what a dirk is, it's somewhere between a dagger and a short sword. That's not a knife. This is a knife. But it's not exactly the size of the Demon Slayer's sword at all. Now, Canon Asta is rather short as a guy, so I figured since he is a she in this case, why not make her rather tall? She's Amazonian in both means of the word. By the time Black Clover would have started, she'd be pushing Mereoleona's height. And muscle tone, if not more. Like I said, Amazonian. She still trains like nobody's business, like I said earlier. To keep prying eyes off it, Sister Lily made Asta a rather dull-looking sheath, and she also made her a necklace with cheap, shiny rocks to draw away from the artifact. Anyone who saw it would assume it was merely some worthless bauble unless they knew better. Yuno is still the calm and aloof man that he is in canon. However, the relationship he has with Asta has obviously changed. Asta and Yuno would make regular trips to the scrapyard in Tarsus, usually in search for parts for Asta's hobby. She had been piecing together a javelin. The two were shacking up near there anyway, so it was a quick trek and easy to get to. I'm gonna take a liberty and say orphans were only kept so long, and they were at that cutoff age. Luckily enough for them, Asta got herself a job working as a mechanic at the forge. She had rubbed elbows with Zoe every now and again and had helped her as a helper for a while, to the point where when she needed an official job, she had it. Every time Zoe would deem a part inoperable, Asta would do her best to repair it and add it to the javelin that Yuno would be wearing. Unfortunately for Asta, every time she got in a javelin, the damn thing wouldn't start. She even had Yuno hold her relics, and well, good thing that javelin was already wrecked beyond repair, because it was not having her in it. And that was when Asta, or more accurately, Matthias, figured out that her relics acted as a stabilizer for her abilities. The blade itself could cut through energy like butter, and the orb that she would normally wear around her neck would absorb energy and discharge it, especially when it's placed in the knife. This would really intrigue Matthias soon, and he would contact Asta and Yuno to do some field work with him. Matthias had to bribe Zoe to get her best mechanic for a day. It was not cheap. If you're wondering how she can even be in the forge, as long as she doesn't go try flying a javelin and she's got her relics on her, she's fine. But something else was odd about her. She was a cipher, and that would help with this expedition to a point. For this expedition, Matthias got away with not having a guard with him. Yuno's javelin was complete and in working order. Asta wanted to make a ranger, however, she only had enough parts for an interceptor. And Yuno wanted, well, he wanted a storm, but they couldn't afford that. They really couldn't. I think that for now, the interceptor will work for Yuno. So continuity-wise, we're about 6 months before the Heart of Rage gets conquered, or more accurately, 6 months before the main crew of Anthem gets back together. So Matthias is just that. Matthias. Since Asta's abilities were needed for this foray into the wild, she couldn't be serving as a cipher for Yuno, as they were accustomed to. Matthias had paid a cipher to form a temporary link with Yuno, should they require the guidance. As they were walking, Asta fell into a chasm. Yuno went to rescue her, but Matthias stopped him. Hold on, Yuno. I think that area is surrounded with fields similar to Asta's. If you go down there, I think it would be bad. Yuno was hesitant to just leave. He's right, Yuno. I've got my blade, my gem, and my guns. I'm gonna explore around here and see what I can find. Asta went out of sight of the hole, and Yuno had to expend all his will not to jump down there and get her. But they were right. He knew it. If this area had some effect similar to Asta and her artifacts, then he'd be stuck down there with no working javelin and very light weaponry. I'll wait here and set up a kill box. If you run into anything, and I mean anything, you can't handle, you run back here, okay? Asta gave the affirmative while rolling her eyes. She can protect herself, but she was gonna do that anyway if something proved too difficult. While the boys were worried about Asta, what Matthias was researching was near the hole so he could continue doing his work. Asta looked around for a way out. She was quite resourceful, and Yuno was merely being overprotective of his... What were they, anyway? Matthias assumed that if they weren't dating, they were at least screwing. He had heard the telltale signs of said activity one day when he went to make a visit unannounced. Matthias shook off the confusion he felt and returned to his work. Yuno kept keeping guard and slaying many a beast in his protection. Asta came to an odd-looking gate. It was this massive stone, looked like door-type deal. Say what you will of Asta's strength, but she ain't opening that thing on her own. She was gonna make her way back to the hole when she noticed a carving of what looked like her knife next to a divot in the door. Well, here goes nothing. She placed the knife in and pulled it out. The gate opened for her, and Asta continued the trek into what she now saw for what it was. There were old and inoperable javelins from what she assumed was the H Dawn. She was saddened that they were here, but since she had the key, she'd be making a deal that she gets salvage rights or to everything here. Either that or she just doesn't tell anyone. As she kept moving, Asta could feel a draw in a certain direction, an energy similar to hers. It beckoned her forth, and she would answer the call. Asta felt the pull, but was blocked by another gate. This one had an indent for a spherical item, and she knew just what to do. Asta's gem began to glow with energy, and another hole for her knife was opened. I say knife, but we all are all aware that this thing is pretty much dirt, like I said. But she calls it a knife. Asta drove her knife forward, and the door opened, revealing what looks to be a javelin taking a knee while holding on to a blade that's in the ground. Said javelin was a beefed up ranger. And when I say beefed up, imagine like a ranger with some not quite Colossus level armor, but it's a heavily armored ranger. And it had what appeared to be a cloak that looked like clasped wings. If you've ever seen gargoyles, think that, only these wings looked somewhere between angelic and demonic. Asta grabbed her gem and made her way to the javelin.
Come, little girl. We shall see if you are worthy of playing.
There was nobody else in the room, so Asta was confused, but she made her way to the javelin, only to be blocked by automatons. Asta dodged blow after blow and struck with her knife when the opportunity arose. If one got too close, she'd use her shotgun to make it regret the decision. Once the opening was made, Asta booked it for the javelin. She was running out of ammo and her ticket out was closed. She hoped to the shapers that this javelin would be able to handle her, but considering the motif of this tomb, she knew it would. In the brief moment she had, Asta noticed that her blade could fit inside of the blade the ranger was holding, and she did it without hesitation. The ranger opened itself and swallowed her whole. Asta still had her gem, but when the javelin powered on for the first time in ages, the stone began making a cracking-like area, and a dark light just escaped it. You know the effect I'm trying to portray here. Either way, out comes a shiny, new javelin, ready to fight. Her knife was gone and replaced by this amazingly sized sword. The dolls, which is what Asta would deem them, shuddered in their version of fear as she let out a mighty roar. "All right, you sons of bitches! It's time to dance!" Asta opened up with her guns, and they were depleted. Her sword was shining, and she was curious as to what abilities she had. What do I have, anyway?
Well, for starters, little girl, you have the Vortex Grenade, which siphons energy from all hostiles. When you throw it, that blade of ours isn't just for show, my dear. The Demon's Blade currently has two abilities: Demon Slayer and Demon Dweller. When it has no energy in it, or more accurately, that gem hat possesses no energy, you may use it merely to disrupt the flow of energy of anything you cut, be it a javelin or shaper relic. And the Dweller allows you to absorb energy and direct it in the form of a gleaming slash. Our greatest attack is the Demon's Wrath. It fires off a devastating blast of pure antimatter energy at all locked-on targets in a single direction.
It was literally a cannon. Asta wanted to do that, but she was told the suit didn't have enough power absorbed to do it. She took a quick look at her sword and noticed there was a gem larger than hers within its guard. I think that's the term. Since the Demon Slayer's sword is basically a big-ass claymore anyway. Claire, eat your heart out. I'm pretty sure this sword is bigger than that, or if not as big, for those of you who have ever seen the anime Claymore. She could feel her gem on her, so her heart slowed down a bit. She had questions, but the voice said later, and she had best get to killing before she got herself killed. Asta agreed to that and got to work. She threw a vortex grenade and made a sweeping slash at the nearest dolls. Said dolls fell to the floor and didn't get up. "Oh yeah! Let's do this!" Like the voice said, this ranger was all about anti-energy, something that Asta knew quite a lot about. While the javelins usually have two abilities, technically three, one could argue that the sword and gem count as an always-on ability. So I'll give you a poll. Is that the case here, or shall I look for a fitting second ability? as well as I'll give you their support item later, since they don't really need it right now. Back to the story, yeah? With every slash of the blade, a new toss of the vortex grenade, the cannon known as Demon's Wrath was now fully charged. Good thing, too, because a big target shows up. Asta waits no time and locks on in that big guy's direction. A devastating blow hit it. Luckily enough for Asta, the bulk of the dolls were in the line of fire, so they're all dead. Alright, voice. Time for some answers. And that's where we're gonna leave it. Rest easy, Deadites. And remember, the night is ours.